Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. And we've been talking lately about some Respighi stuff, some new Respighi. No one ever gets tired of new Respighi stuff. And if, like me, you are a compulsive Respighi collector, you're going to get what coming out anyway, no matter how good it is. Well, here we have one new thing that some of you mentioned to me. Actually, this is Alessandro Crudele, which means what you think it does. It means cruel person. It's some last name. Well, Italians have those last names. Like Malpensa Airport in Milan, evil thoughts. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It just fascinates me. I love names and things like that. So anyway, Alessandro Crudele is conducting the London Philharmonic in Pini di Roma, the Pines of Rome, and the Impressioni Brasiliane, the Brazilian Impressions, and last but not least, the suite from Belkis, Regina di Saba, Belkis, Queen of Sheba. Well, that's quite an extraordinary collection of colorful stuff. And LINN is known for making records that sound really terrific, and the London Phil is a very good orchestra. So how is it? Well, meh, it's okay. It's all right. You do hear the tam-tams at the end of the Pines of Rome. The problem is you don't hear the brass. I mean, that's a bigger issue, frankly. You really want to hear all the antiphonal brass going crazy. Well, you don't. You hear organ and giant welter of sound in which is embedded, sort of brass stuff that kind of pops out now and then like raisins in a muffin. So that was a little bit disappointing, actually. The opening I liked very much of the Pines of Rome. It was a little slower than usual, but it had it's supposed to be children playing. It's not supposed to be like fireworks going off or something. It had that character. It was very nicely characterized. The catacombs were pretty. I mean, they were lovely, and the night scene was very attractive, and the nightingale twittered away, did its nightingale thing. But that last march could have been better. It's kind of fascinating to me. It really is. Because, you get one thing, like the percussion parts, but you don't get the other, like the brass. It's a tough piece to record. It really is kind of remarkable when you consider that probably the best recording all around is still the old Fritz Reiner from like 1950 something, RCA living stereo, in terms of what you hear and how it's engineered. And it just goes to show that, recording is an art, not a science. Anyway, it was okay. The Brazilian Impressions, let's face it, not one of Respighi's strongest works. It's fun. It's charming. It's nicely done here. The opening movement, particularly the tropical night, it's lovely. It really is lovely. It reminds me, he's sort of cribbing from, Le Parfum de la Nuit from Debussy's Iberia, with all that impressionistic, slushing around and whatnot, with little bits of Brazilian dance music coming up and fading away. It's a terrific piece. But the rest of it, the snake pit, not terribly scary. Not only that, what sort of got me is that, Respighi does the snakes as everyone does, with like a tambourine, like, I don't know if they're rattlesnakes in Brazil. Are they? I mean, are there rattlesnakes there? I mean, I know they have like all the other killer snake things, but they're not rattlesnakes, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. People use rattlesnakes and hissy noises, and snakes don't hiss. And aside from rattlesnakes, they don't rattle. But that's just me. I mean, I'm picky about things like that. And then the last movement is song and dance, and it's pretty, it's nice. But like I said, it ain't one of Respighi's, better works or better pieces. The last two movements, anyway. So then we get Belkis, Queen of Sheba. Now, the thing about the Belkis suite is that you really need to do, or what I think Jeffrey Simon did, didn't he do that? He switched the inner movements so that you have the opening, the Dream of Solomon, and then you've got Belkis's Dance at Dawn. I mean, you got to mix them around, because then you've got two quickies. You've got the war dance and then the last movement. Now, it's much better off because you've got the two long, slow things at first and then two quicker things. And there's no reason you need to do it in the order that Respighi published it. I'm not sure why he published it in that order. Anyway, this is in the regular order. So there's 2 long, slowish things followed by 2 loud, fastish things. I love the war dance. The war dance is a little too quick here. It needs to be heavier and more and rougher, and nastier. I mean, Jeffrey Simon on Chandos gets it right. It's very, very good. But then we have the Danza Orgiastica, whatever it's called. If that is not the silliest piece of music, I mean, oh my goodness, it's ridiculous. It sounds like the soundtrack to like the mating ritual of a couple elephant seals on the National Geographic Channel. I mean, it's boom, blah, boom, blah, boom, blah, boom, blah, with like swirling woodwinds on top. It's ridiculous. I mean, it gets better as it goes because Respighi stops that opening nonsense, but it's not orgiastic in the least. And for Respighi, it's rather unimaginatively scored. It's just heavy and dense. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the performance. I really don't, because I don't think there's anything you can really do with the piece to try and, make something musically interesting out of it. It's just, wow, orgiastic? Are you serious? No, it's not. Not a bit. And that's not, Maestro Crudele's fault. That is the composer's fault. So, very good sonics, a nice program, a little disappointing in the Pines of Rome, 2 works that are, a notch below Respighi's best. It would have been nice to have like a really slamming performance of Church Windows or something like that. Yeah, that would be fun. But we kind of know our Respighi now, don't we? There's not a lot of orchestral music, I think, that we haven't heard at this point. And so these couplings are now all going to start featuring the same stuff in rotation, and we'll have an opportunity to sort of call it as we hear it. Anyway, so, okay, not great, not terrible. If you're a Respighi person, you may want to hear it because it sounds different from other things. But if you're a normal person and you have Respighi and you have these pieces, you don't need this. That is my educated opinion. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.